I thought it was an incredibly physical scrimmage. Probably the most physical that I can remember being a part of. I thought I saw a gear from our players, another level of intensity that I had not seen yet, and that was really exciting going into really the last scrimmage. We talk about this all the time. Game day is always different. It's a different mentality, and there's nothing that we can do to emulate exactly what game day is going to be, but a scrimmage is the closest simulation that we can give you to exactly what game day is going to be like. And so jobs are won and lost in those situations. There's a different level of intensity in that moment, right? There's not quite as many reps overall, right? You're just getting more game style reps. And I thought our guys rose to the level from a physicality standpoint. Their execution was really good with our tackling, significantly improved. And then there was some really good situational work that we're doing. I think Coach DeBoer, Kalen does a tremendous job of just getting our guys ready from a situational standpoint and preparing them for all the scenarios that can come up in a game. We may work a situation that, we may play 1,300 snaps next year, and that we may only run that situation one time, right? But I think we do a really good job of covering those things. So. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think for us from a physicality standpoint is we talk about hard shoulder tackling. So there is pre-contact emphasis, and then there's the point of contact and emphasis. And the first thing that we have to do is you have to close space on the man, on the ball carrier, and then hold leverage at the same time as you're closing space. I thought we did a really good job of that, and it allows them to get in a position to where they can work what we call a same foot, same shoulder, and then a finish on top, right, which means finish in a dominant position. So did a really good job of closing space and holding leverage. And then I thought, we finished in a physical on top position for most of the scrimmage. So a lot of missed tackling. I think there's a misnomer out there. If you play defense right where a ball carrier has a ball with space, you're going to have more missed tackles, right? But if you can close that space, right, and it's a bang bang, he catches the ball, or he gets all of a sudden to the second level and the run fit, but we have somebody immediately there, you're going to have less missed tackles, right, simply because you're closing the space around those ball carriers. And I think our players are doing a really good job of that right now. Defensive positions, I think we will see those things more like a game-to-game situation. And even within the game, we may say, hey, we're going to go field and boundary here, or we may match, as a base, call all game long, or we may say situationally on third down, right, we'll go match personnel and try to figure those things out. So we haven't really gotten into full-in game plan mode for Western Kentucky. We've obviously looked at those things and had some preparation as a coaching staff, but we won't finalize those things until on the back end of this week.
What would you say about the interior pass rush with Kane, Otis, some of those guys? Do they look more like pocket shrinkers or pocket breakers?
Yeah, I think those guys are doing a good job of starting to understand. I think a lot of pass rush on the interior is pre-snap recognition. Is it a run pass? Is it a run call? Is it a pass call? I may call a run stopping defense, right, for the defensive line, but all of a sudden they get a pass recognition, and we're going to make communications out there where they have the ability, right, to turn that into a pass rush scenario either themselves, right, or we may work some games inside with the interior D-line. So I think those guys are doing a really good job of holding their roles, but we seem to be able to create some pass rush on the interior as well. So those guys have really taken to that. I think they're, trying to create ownership, for themselves.
Tim Smith and Latham, the guys been here since 2021 National Championship. You can't ever take for granted that guys are going to be here that long. What is that kind of experience and leadership and guys who've been here, even with different coaching staff?
I've said this before, but experience is finite, right? There's only a certain amount of reps. There's only a certain amount of FBS games that go on, and only 11 players can represent your team on the field at any given moment, right? So having that experience, right, on your team pays dividends in the things that they see. I think for us defensively, we've talked about this before, but we spend so much time in the offseason mastering our concepts, what we do as a defense, and understanding the bigger picture, not just your role as the safety, Malachi, or your role as a linebacker, Deontay, right? But then as you get into the season, right, it's about offensive recognition. And those guys have seen so many reps over the years. They've seen so many different plays and been attacked different ways. And now defense that is inherently reactionary, right, turns into being able to play with anticipation. I think those older guys that have the experience, right, are able to do that at a higher level than some of those younger players.
Did you wear a sweatshirt the entire practice?
I did. You didn't think I got enough of a sweat in?
It's August.
You know, this is, I don't know if we would consider this North Alabama, but, you know, compared to Mobile, I am living in paradise right now in terms of the weather. So, you know, I love Mobile. I love that town, but it is damn hot this time of year and humid, pretty much all year round. So to get a little bit of a breeze and all that stuff, I couldn't get over how good it felt out there. So.
Let me ask you a question related to that. What gives you the confidence in Kane to take a chance on coming here to be with the guy who replaces him?
Well, you know, Kalen and I had been in the foxhole together, you know, before. And so, you know, when you get to know Kalen DeBoer, you see the confidence that he has. It's certainly a humble confidence. But for his, you know, players, coaches, the way he conducts himself, the way that he game plans, the stress that our offense puts on people, I thought was certainly an opportunity to get, you know, back with him and to work with him again was something I was really looking forward to. And then, you know, I think we talk about this, right? You know, the greatest players always step up in the biggest moments. Well, it's the same thing for coaches, right? You know, Coach Saban has really set the standard of what defensive play is supposed to look like in college football for the last 3 decades. And to be able to, you know, step in place for that and to be able to run this defense and make some changes in what we're doing and all the things he's been able to do to help. You know, I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. I wanted to be able to continue the legacy that he's created here and defensive foundation and the way that we do things. And so I just thought it was a special opportunity and one I was not going to pass up.
What are some of the things you've seen from Mac at the safety position? Just what is the offer on the field?
From who? King. Yeah, I think you know, King's athletically, I mean, he's very fast individual, very physical. He's got some really good instincts. He seems to be really making plays on the ball. I would say when we go scrimmage-like situations, he tends to elevate his game. I don't know if, you know, you call the word a gamer or whatever it may be, right? But I think he's a very instinctive football player. Been very pleased with how he's kind of taken to the defense. You know, young players in the defense, right? You're going to see some of these guys play, and we're going to take some lumps doing that, right? Young players, again, experience is finite, right? They have to go through some of those experiences to deal with those things. But we're going to get those players in. They're going to play in meaningful snaps in games. And you hope, right, that the same King Mack or Red Morgan or Zabian Brown or whoever it may be is not the same guy at the end of the season, right? They continue to elevate their game and grow. And if they do that, right, we're going to be in an okay position from a defensive standpoint. You asked a question a second ago.
You and Kalen both talked about this being the most physical scrimmage since you've been here. Do you feel like that was something the coaches pushed on the players heading into the scrimmage, or they took it upon themselves, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think I don't think you come to Alabama unless you're a true competitor, you know, unless you want to be in those big moments, right? And so we talk about this all the time. I like guys that love to win and hate to lose, love to work and hate to lose. And so guys that love to go about the work, that are focused on doing the next right thing, always striving to be the best versions of themselves and don't mind putting in the work. But guys that hate to lose, as opposed to guys that just enjoy winning, will do whatever it takes to get something fixed when adversity hits. And so, you know, our offense has created tons of challenges for us and what we have to defend. And so I think our guys have responded really well to that adversity. And I didn't think in scrimmages, particularly early on in games, in the springtime or in fall, you know, fall scrimmage one, you really look at us last year, we were the same way. We didn't start fast enough. And I think our guys have really taken that challenge upon themselves.
Last question. We heard last week that on offense that they don't want to stack certain players at wide receiver because you've got 3 basic positions on the defensive line. Is that a situation too that you?
I'm not sure. I understand what you're asking.
Competition, I guess.
You're saying like how many guys will we play? Is that?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, I think defensive line, those are big boys in there, right? And so when you have some of these offenses that can sustain long drives and now they're going tempo and they're spreading you out laterally and vertically and making you run to swarm tackle, right, and get around the ball, naturally, right, you're going to get tired, especially early in the season, especially in the South, right, those things. So early in, I think you're going to see a good rotation of those defensive linemen. I think we went over it as a defensive staff, who is above the line as we head into the first game and who is maybe on or slightly below the line that we've got to continue to work to get them in position that in meaningful snaps they can take in the game. But I think from a defensive line standpoint, we've got a number of guys that can do that, and I'm excited to see them early on.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys. Roll Tide.